just want to give a quick disclaimer as to what this video is about. I'm going to be talking about my personal journey, story, experience after a suicide attempt. So if you feel you may get triggered upon discussion of this topic, feel free to click out of the video. If you want to watch it with someone else for more comfort, perfectly fine, doesn't bother me. I'm putting this out there to raise awareness and also show people that it's possible to come back from the situation. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a different video. A year ago tomorrow, July 23rd, 2019, I made a decision that definitely changed my life in a way that no other decision that someone has made for me or that I've made for myself has changed my life. I didn't realize how difficult it was being in that space, and I didn't actually realize I was in that space to the point I was in, you know. I always thought that I was just your average kid that had some difficult times here and there and would get upset, you know, like everyone gets upset about stuff, everyone goes through things. I didn't think I was special, you know, I didn't think I needed any special help, I didn't think I was extremely depressed or anything like that. After that argument, I completely just, my mind was just scrolling. It was just going crazy with thoughts. I decided I was gonna try end my life. In this moment, I was upset, I was crying, I was angry, I was frustrated, and I felt that there was no reason for me to be here because I wasn't thinking about how this would affect my family or those around me or the people that were my close friends, you know. I didn't think about that. At that point, I just wanted everything to be over. I wanted the pain, the anger, the frustration, I just wanted it gone, you know. Thankfully, I failed, and that's why I'm still here. I don't really remember much of that night after I kind of went unconscious. I'm not proud of what I did, but I'm not ashamed of the fact that I've been there. The last thing I remember was being outside in the rain. That was the last thing I remember from that point. And my mom has told me, obviously she told me what happened because I asked her, like, I want to know. I was like, what happened? Like, how did you find me? What happened, you know? I'm not saying this to be like, you should never do that, you're a bad person, because you're not. Everyone has different ways of coping with things, and at that point I felt like that was the best way for me, to just be done with it. My mom told me that I was freezing cold. I was on the floor apparently. When she tried to lift me up to like hold me or hug me or anything, she said my body was so heavy. It was like lifeless weight, you know, like dead weight. She managed to carry me to my room with my brother's help. She put me on my bed, she put blankets on me just to try to warm up my body because I was like freezing cold. My lips were blue, my jaw was locked. And she decided that they weren't going to call an ambulance to come get me to like figure out what was going on because they thought it was going to take too long. My mom has medical aid training and whatnot, so she knew pain points, not like to hurt someone, you know, but like to try to get a reaction from pain, you know. And she tried all of those on me and I didn't move. So she called her best friend over to, like, she phoned her and she was like, Dominique's done something, I don't know what she did, she's not moving, what, please can you come take us to the hospital. So she came. I woke up in the ER with lights all around me. Obviously being an ER, there's gonna be people around you trying to figure out like what's going on, you know. There were pipes, needles like in me. There was those silver sheet blanket things to try heat up your body. They wanted those on me, and I could feel the warmth on my body when I was coming around, you know. But I was shivering, like I was shaking, I was shivering. I could feel this warmth on me. And I was really confused because everything just felt sore. And the nurse was like trying to speak to me, and I'm looking at her like, bro, I don't even know what's going on. Like, can you just chill? And at one point, I started to come around again, like properly, you know. And she says, where's your mom? I literally looked at this woman like, I literally just came in here, unconscious. And you want to ask me where my mom is? Like, do you think I really know that? And honestly, I told her, I was like, I don't know, I want my brother. So she was like, is he here? And I just looked at her and I was like, I don't know. Like, I literally did not know. Like, I came in there not knowing anything. This was me waking up and wondering what was going on, you know? I went back under, like I closed my eyes, just trying to rest, you know, like trying to figure out what was going on. My brother came in and he asked me, like, he came in and he spoke to me and he was like, what's going on? And I was like, bro, like, please just calm down, like, I don't know. Like, please just let me figure this out. Eventually, I said to them they can bring my mom, and my mom came in. She, like, was just like, how are you feeling? And I was like, I really don't know how I'm feeling, like, I don't know what's going on really, you know? So, they said to me that they were gonna admit me to the hospital to stay overnight. Keep in mind, this was now 10:30 at night, where they said, okay, we're gonna admit you, something like that. Wasn't early at all. Also, side note, I have the greatest fear of hospitals, anything to do with doctors, any of that stuff. No. You wanna do a blood test on me? Forget about it. You wanna give me an injection? Forget about it. I literally have had anxiety attacks to get x-rays. X-rays literally are not painful. There's something about hospitals that I just cannot do. But at this point, I was like, if you guys can help me and that means I have to sleep here by myself, so be it. Because I was so confused and I felt so bad for what had happened that I just wanted to make it better as soon as I could, you know? So they said, okay, we're gonna admit you. And then they told my mom and my brother, okay, you can't stay. And so they were like, okay, so what's gonna happen? So they said, okay, let's take you to the wards. I had to stay overnight, and there was a nurse who came in and woke me up every 2 hours, so I didn't get much sleep that night. I was admitted on suicide watch. So that means that because I wasn't in such a bad state, like, I wasn't like a bad state, but I wasn't like, it could have been a lot worse, you know? So because it was a pretty mild situation, I didn't have to have someone next to me the whole time, but there was always someone around, and someone did come in every 2 hours and check my vitals. At about 8:30 in the morning, my mom came in with my brother, and I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? I have a psychiatrist. They phoned him, and he said, speak to the parents and see if we can take her to this psychiatric clinic that's in our area called Helderberg Clinic. My mom was like, I think it's worth a shot. We phoned my psychologist. She agreed to try it, not to be like, oh, you need it because you're like psychotic. It was just like, let's see if this can help you, you know? We went to the clinic and I was very anxious about it all. I did not know how this was gonna work. I didn't know how long I was gonna be there. I didn't know anything about it. Both the places I was at, they were very, very nice people that were taking care of me, and that's such a blessing. I'm sitting there with my mom now. We're doing the paperwork. Obviously, I had to sign some forms with like rules about the clinic and stuff like that. So I was like going through these forms, and at that point I wasn't really upset, like I wasn't like very anxious. I was just like, okay, we're just gonna give this a shot and see how it goes, you know? And the lady at reception said, okay, I'm gonna get one of the nurses to come get you and take you to your room. And that's when I broke down. I looked at my mom, I started crying. I was like, Mommy, I don't want to go. It wasn't like they were forcing me. They were not forcing me. They said, if you want more time, we can wait. And my mom did what was best for me at the time and said, no, she needs to go and get situated and we'll come during visiting hours. I was just sitting there and I was just like, so now what? Like, so the nurses were explaining to me like how everything goes, like how there's a schedule and there's other people under 18 that were there and they were going to be coming like to this room. It's like a chill room, common room type thing. And all the nurses are really, really nice. Like everyone around you is very nice, and all they want to do is help you, you know? They're not there to judge you. They're not there to say, oh, you're such a bad person because of that. or anything like that. They don't even ask you questions. Like, if they ask you a question and you don't want to answer, you can literally say, I don't feel comfortable discussing this, and they'll be okay with it, you know. My mom and my brother came to see me every day, and we had our schedule and whatnot. I was supposed to go home I thought I was going to go home after a week. I didn't go home after a week. I think it was like the next weekend after being a week of me being there. I was like, when can I go home? And they're like, okay, we're gonna have to discuss it like with your psychiatrist and with the nurses to see like how your progress is, like how you feel about going home. Like, they do not force you to go home. If you say that you don't feel you're ready to go home, like you still have bad anxiety or stuff like that, they'll do the best they can to help you and accommodate you with that, you know. I wasn't very sure if I wanted to go home because I still had hectic anxiety. I didn't know if I'd be able to control myself and put into play these coping mechanisms that they teach you for these things there. So I was quite a bit nervous about it. And I think, so I got there on the 24th, the morning of the 24th, and I went home on the 8th of August, 2019. Yeah. So I was there for a bit of time, and honestly, they all they wanted to do was help us, you know. And I met some really amazing people there. I'm still friends with a few of them. Once I came out, I got home, and in the first few minutes I lost my phone. Because at the clinic, there's certain times where you're allowed to have your phone. Just so that you can focus on what they're teaching you in your like classes and stuff like that. It's not like, oh, we're gonna take your phone and go through it. Sorry, my cat's leaving my room now. So I wasn't used to having my phone with me all the time. I lost my phone. I wasn't very sure about how I feel about going back to school. I was very anxious. It's not like people didn't know where I was. Okay, not many people did know initially. Very few people knew initially. But once I got out of the hospital, you know, like out of the clinic, and I had my phone, and I saw like so many people have been messaging me, and they were like, hey, where are you? How are you doing? Like, is everything okay? We've heard rumors that you left the school and went to another school. I literally told these people, I was like, hey, I'm good. I just told them straight. I was like, on this night, this happened. Not to be like, oh, I did this, now you must feel sorry for me. No. I told them these things because I didn't want there to be any misconception about anything that happened. I didn't want people to be saying things that were way out of proportion as to what had happened. I was feeling a lot better. I had gotten help that helped me a lot, you know. Some people just wanted to go and make a joke out of it. And to me, that's not funny. Not because they don't understand what it's like, but because this is a situation that people go through daily. Numbers of people that we can't even count on our fingers, you know. And having gone through this, I've learned that it's gonna get tough. You're gonna want to give up. You're gonna feel like there's no point in even trying. You're gonna feel like no one cares. I promise you, there's someone out there that cares. And it sounds so cliche because people say that all the time. All the time people are like, yeah, well, your parents care, da 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 da. I don't know your situation. Other people may not know your situation. They may not know how you live, what you deal with every day when you go home, what you deal with when you go to school. There's gonna be someone out there that's genuinely gonna want to know why you feel this way and what they can do to help you. Because I know I had a few people that were very, very, very good to me during this time, and they definitely tried to support me to the best of their ability. And that didn't mean that they came and saw me at the clinic, because not many people knew I was at the clinic. But when I was back at school, they would like just keep an eye on me, you know, like I had a few people that were really close to me, and if I felt very anxious, I could literally just message them. Whether you feel like you are gonna destroy your reputation if you let yourself go into a dark space, or you feel like no one understands, that's irrelevant. Because everyone lives a different life. Everyone has a different home situation. Everyone has a different situation at school. There are some people at schools that don't even have a single friend that they can call a friend because they don't feel like they fit in. There's other people at schools that go to school and have people all around them that support them and love them and what. But when it comes to a trying situation, similar to mine, those people are nowhere to be seen. And I'm not saying you need to put your friends to the test. I'm just saying, as difficult as it sounds, there's a way through it. And one thing that I learned to stop doing is to blame yourself. Don't blame yourself for everything. Not everything is your fault. Maybe you messed up in a situation. Maybe you said something to someone in the heat of the moment that was a little harsh. No one's perfect. No one can honestly say that they are happy with everything that they've done in their life and everything they've said to someone, because it's not true. And I hate to sound like such an old person who knows it all, because that's not how I feel about this. I don't think I know it all. I know I don't know it all. But what I am saying is, don't be afraid to reach out, whether it's to your mom, to your siblings, to your best friend, to your cousin, or to some stranger on Instagram that has an account to help people that are struggling. Because I promise you, if you reach out to accounts like that, if they are genuinely an account for what they say they are, you have no reason to be afraid. Because 99% of the time, they've been through this. They know what it feels like to be there. I do know of an Instagram account that if you feel like you ever need to just talk to someone that you don't know because you don't want to get judged, or they don't want, like, stuff like that. Another thing is, don't be afraid to ask to go to a psychologist, to go to a psychiatrist for these types of things. Because one of the worst feelings in the world that I have experienced is going through this pain, this frustration, this anger about, like, towards yourself, you know? But sitting there and telling yourself that you're okay and you don't have to tell people about it, because, like, there's no need for that. Because if you keep doing that to yourself, it's only gonna get worse. And I'm not trying to, like, wish bad upon people. That's, like, the last thing I want to do. But personally, I tried to hide it. I tried to tell myself, it's okay. You can distract yourself. You don't need to think about these things. When I least expected it, I broke down. Just fell apart. I didn't expect to ever go through that. I didn't expect to be in that situation that night. But honestly, I'm thankful that I went through it, because it's taught me some things that no one can ever teach you in life. I've learned different ways to think about situations. I've learned different approaches towards things. I've learned how to manage my personal struggles in a healthy way without hurting myself more, whether it's emotionally, physically, mentally, any of those things. And if you think that it's funny to joke about these things, I don't have any words for you, because it's not. If you think it's funny to say, why didn't you try what they did? Because it seemed to have worked for them to get out of a situation, best check yourself. Because it's not funny, it's not a joke, it's not a game, it's not an act. I'm not ashamed of what I did, not because I want attention, but because I have the maturity to understand and accept that, yeah, I messed up. Yeah, I let myself fall. But I did what I had to do. I got the help that I could have gotten, that I needed to get, to pick myself back up again and try to take a turn for the better. As I said before, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. I'm not saying this because, oh, I'm better than you. Because I'm not. But at the end of the day, there might just be someone out there that just needs to hear that there's hope and there's possibility to come out of that situation. And regardless of how people treat you because you did that, or you were feeling suicidal, regardless of what people say, they have no right to say those things. Because at the end of the day, you're the stronger person. Because you went through that pain, but you're still here. If there's someone that you know, or a family member that didn't make it out of it, don't be mad at them. Everyone has a time. Maybe that was just their time. I'm sure, like, obviously, like, you didn't want it to be that way. You can't control those things though. Looking back, I've thought about it multiple times. What if I did succeed in that? What would have happened to my brother? What would have happened to my family? And every time I find myself thinking about those things, I try not to think about them. Because there's no point in sitting there thinking, what if those happened? Like, what if that happened? Because it didn't happen. And you pulled through. You got yourself from that lowest low just to a little bit of a high. And that is improvement. And improvement is more important than any other little stereotype that people want you to meet. I recently, in the last few months, have developed this thing that I tell myself pretty much every day. You can have goals for yourself, and that's good. That's a great thing to do, is have goals, set goals for yourself. But you can't reach those goals if you don't improve, right? So what I tell myself, every little bit of improvement is success, because it's slowly gonna get you to that goal, you know? And one of the other things about that is, don't try match society's expectations of who you should be. Because if you're not true to yourself and you live a certain way to match society's expectations and to be this perfect person, you know, or to not show your emotions when you're upset in public because that's unbecoming, or that's doesn't show class. Personally, I say throw it away, because you can't be truly happy if you're living trying to be someone that you're not. You need to be true to yourself. I don't think anyone should try to change who they are to meet a certain expectation, because it's not healthy. Unless you genuinely want to get to a certain point or meet some sort of expectation, don't push yourself harder than you think you can go, you know? Because if you end up pushing yourself too hard, you're gonna burn out. That's what happened to me. I burned out. Little did I know I was gonna burn out. I didn't think I was gonna burn out. I burnt out out of nowhere. I didn't see it coming. None of us saw it coming. My mom, my psychologist, my psychiatrist, my brother, no one saw it coming. Try to keep yourself as healthy as you possibly can, mentally. Not only physically, mentally. Don't push yourself for unrealistic things, because that's damaging to the brain. It's draining emotionally and physically. That's my story. I came out of it. I'm not ashamed of it. There are people at school that still give me weird looks because they know Dominique attempted suicide. Good on them. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't faze me. Because I wake up and I realize you pushed through another day. Yesterday was difficult. You were down, you were upset, you didn't want to do anything, but you pushed through it. So good on you. And that's how you have to treat yourself. You can't treat yourself like you're a robot, because you're not. You have to have emotions, you have to have down days, you have to have days where you just feel the frustration, the pain, the anger, whatever it is. It's life. Don't make your life more difficult than it needs to be. If that makes any sense, logically. I just want to come and tell you guys that you're not alone. There's always people that you can go to. As I always say, feel free to contact me, because I'm here to help you guys, you know, like I'm not here to be some cocky person. I want people to not feel like they're alone, because it's a terrible feeling, it's not fun. With that, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, share if you want to, comment, go for it all. And I hope you have a good rest of the week. Keep smiling. Don't forget that you're not alone. You can do it. You're strong.